5 seconds. 4.
And hello and welcome to Thursday. Yes, we do have a show, and it's not the Hazel. No, it's not. It's me, and it's the old one. Yeah, the old git. Bob is over there or there somewhere. Say hello, Bob.
Evening each. How's everyone?
How you doing, Bob?
Not so bad, Keith. Not so bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate.
Ah, good. Pleased to hear it.
Yes, and welcome to the old gits. Yes, it's me. I'm not that old, really. No, not really, but he is. You all right, you, Bob?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
He's the dinosaur of the titles. And yes, here we go. It's a new show, so forgive us if we're a bit nervous. It is our first show. Hopefully the first of many. But we've been having a little chat, haven't we, Bob, about a few things.
We have, mate. We have, yeah. Put the
And
world on lights.
we've been having a chat about the need for getting the, what was it, the next best thing.
Yeah. I think we've both been guilty of that. We really have.
Oh yeah, shiny items.
Shiny items, as it were. And I just wonder why we do it. You know, it's with the device we started off on, and it sort of got us off the cigarettes, and
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? I mean, I started with what was it, a 650 milliamp hour battery and a CE4.
Yeah, same. Well, similar to me. I started off with a 750 milliamp hour battery and a cartridge and an atomizer.
What sort of battery did you start with?
I got it off. I can't remember the site. I got it off now, but it was a Riva battery. It was a kit. There was a separate atomizer, and you stuck a cartridge into it with a bit of wadding up the middle, and took about 20 drops of juice if you were lucky.
Yeah.
Just put it all together, and away you went.
I know when I had my first kit, we bought it off our local market, and it was like about 45 quid.
Yeah.
Two 650 batteries and two CE4s. And the USB charging cable. And that was it for 45 quid, and I think you can get them now for about 15 quid.
That you can. It's the kit I got. I think it was another 18 months before the CE4s came onto the shelves, as it were. But yeah, it was good enough at the time. It got me off of the dreaded weed. But I soon kind of went bigger. You know, I actually bought a lava tube when that first came out. That cost me around about 50 odd quid when they first came out.
I don't think I've ever seen a lava tube actually.
The long black tube, orange display on it. I think it went up to 6 volts. Back then it was a revelation. You know, it's much the same as what you're seeing now, especially with a DNA 200, etc. You know, it's a complete revelation. And I went on to that very quickly after using the Riva kit, and from then on, I just went on to mechs after that. Why, I don't know. I can't tell you why. I haven't got a clue. I just preferred using the mechs, and I still do to this day.
I mean, the question remains really about why we always choose to go on to the next best thing when, what we were saying, we were talking about this the other night, weren't we?
We were.
About why that simple device, what we started with, that got us off the fags basically, and it was enough to get us off the fags, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I know for some, they need something extra to get them off the fags. For
Yeah,
me,
true.
I was lucky I could get off the fags, but it took me 6 months to get off of them fully, you know. And I just turned to my wife one night and said, "That's it. I don't like the taste of cigarettes anymore. I prefer the taste of this. Plus, I've got the added benefit of sitting indoors and using it instead of going standing out there freezing my goo johns off, you know." So that was what really swung it for me.
Yeah.
Plus, I enjoyed the flavours that I was getting at the time, you know. But I think it was once I went fully on to using these. So around about a couple of weeks after, that's when I got the lava tube, and I had a better vape, as it were. You know, that's because the Reaver kit of this 750 milliamp hour battery, they were lasting me back then around about 5 hours, 6 hours. Maybe I'll get 7 hours out of it. But it wasn't a regulated one. These ones were the unregulated, so the battery died and the quality of the vape died as well.
Yeah.
Whereas with the lava tube, you still had that to a point before it was die off. I think it was around about 3.5, 3.4 volts, and by then I'd always have another battery going in anyway, you know. But so that's what did it for me. That's when I started getting a more consistent vape. And then I tried a mech, and I was blown away by the simplicity of it all. Really, there was nothing that I could see at the time could go wrong. It was battery in, and away you go. There was no electronics to foul. I know a mech can foul, you know, but from then on, I thought, yeah, I like this. It was smaller. It was heavier. The lava tube was a very light mod for what it was compared to, say, for argument's sake, a Provari. It was very light, but the mech itself, there was something about the mech that appealed to me. Whether it was its size, its looks, I don't know. It just looked nice. But I never went for the shiny ones because of the fingerprints. I always went for the brush steel, you know. It's classier, I suppose.
I mean, so we were saying, like I said the other night, why did we move on from these simple ones and keep going on to other things? I mean, we were saying about the influence of forums and what other people were using.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think the forums at the time played a big part in the decision making I was doing at the time.
Well, same with me.
You know, like most new users, as it were, you go and hit the forums if you're getting into it in that way. And I suppose a little bit of jealousy creeps in. Well, you know, like he's got that or she's got that, and I want to try that, and I'd like to try that. And then you'll find out most of the stuff you're trying, not all of it, but a fair majority of it, was basically the same as what you were using originally. But you were paying pound notes more for it, you know, and a lot of pound notes at that. Then you got into the rebuildable style coming onto the scene, and again that was another completely new way of vaping for a lot of us.
I never touched rebuildables. I went on to variable voltage before that.
Yeah.
I think variable voltage for me was a big step from the 650 battery. I think I went on to variable voltage ones after that.
Yeah. It's like me. As I say, I went from the 750 milliamp to the lava tube. That's long gone now. I gave that away to someone once. My daughter's actually bought me the Provari. It was a Father's Day present, and I used that constantly for a good 18 months while I was out. And at home, I was using my mix. I don't know why. I suppose it was also the atomizers I was using as well. You know, some perform better on a regulated mod than they do on a non-net mod.
I think I was still using a CE4 when I moved on to variable voltage.
I used the C4s for a while, and then I think it was the Arga AGA came out,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, it was 20 quid, I think, roughly around that area, and it was rude not to, so I'll give it a try. And I remember the first time trying to coil that bugger. Oh, dear, oh dear. Oh, hours, hours. And it almost ended up getting thrown out the window. It was that bad. Then the next morning I tried again, and from then on it was fine. It's I don't know. And then as I say, I just sort of progressed from there with rebuildables, and I got the expensive ones. Also got the cheap ones as well. And yeah, there's a couple of the expensive ones that really are worth their money, or they were then. Whether they are now, I don't know, because I haven't tried the newer kit.
Is this mix?
On the mix, yeah. It's the same as the actual tube as well itself. Some perform better than the others, especially with voltage tube, with your battery. And it's, again, you spend out pounds to find this out. And I've got mix here that I've spent pound notes on that I don't ever use anymore. And I see a guy that came onto the chat, I think it was last week sometime, Goldie, and I bought an atomizer from him. Oh, must be coming up 3 years ago, and I've still got it. I don't use it, but I still got it. And that was a top fed rebuildable atomizer. It gave you a very, very cool vape, but you used to get a lot of condensation in it as well. It was a great idea, great concept, but I don't know if you can get them anymore. I think it was a Cyclone or Cyclone, one of the two. And it was a nice vape. If you like the cool vape, which I do.
We will buy all this stuff. I mean, I've got loads of it up here on the shelf behind me, and most of it never gets used.
No. Well, you look at Dave Dawn and Dave Kitson and others in the team. They've got masses of kit that they may pick up once in a while. Most of it's gathering dust. Same as me. I've got a box full of it.
I think there's loads of people out there who've got.
Oh yeah, no doubt there is.
Loads of stuff that they don't use.
Absolutely. I just wonder why we've got to do it. We've got to have the next best thing. I don't know what's in us that we've got to do it, but we've got to have it. And it's hard to back away once you get into that cycle of, oh, there's a new atomizer, or oh, there's a new regulated mod, or mechanical mod, or a new box, or a new this, that, or the other. I've got to have it. And unfortunately, I've backed away from that now, and I've managed to save myself a few quid.
Can I just jump in there?
Yeah.
I know I'm supposed to be keeping my trap shut, but I can't do that because there's a woman in there. But Monster Rob covered it quite nicely with a comment he said in the chat earlier on, and he said, getting off the fags is the first step. Then you start looking for something that gives you fulfillment. After 3 years, he's still looking.
Really?
See, I was lucky. I mean, me and Kat will start vaping at the same time. She got shinitis. I never did because I found my device that did it for me very early on.
Yeah.
And I now have possibly 6, 7 mods, and 4 out of the 7 are in regular use. So I was quite lucky in that respect, but I can totally understand it. The way I always look at it with this is your first 18 months is about getting off the cigarettes and staying off them if that's the reason that you went into this. For me personally it wasn't, but for a lot of people it is. And once you've sort of got a hold of that side of it, it then becomes something that you actually are doing because you enjoy it.
It's
And if
the
if
experimental
it's
stage, isn't it?
yeah, and if it's something you enjoy, if it's a hobby for want of a better word, people put their money into it. Like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you can buy a bog standard car, and that keeps 90% of car owners quite happy. But there's 10% that want to stick new alloys on it and stick a spoiler on it and put nice lights underneath it and all that type of stuff. It's all just part of the same thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a case of, it's I've spent pounds, like all of us, with a lot of money on a lot of mods, and at the moment I'm using a £15 mod.
Yes.
Admittedly, the atomizer was 40 quid, but the mod itself, a simple mechanical 15 quid job, and it does what I need it to do.
Squonking box, isn't it?
It is, but that's just my opinion. And that works for me, and I'm not knocking anyone who wants to use what they're using. Matt's got his 200 watt DNA. Others are going to go high wattage, low wattage. Mechanicals are going to go wooden boxes or stainless steel or silver, whatever. Whatever you're happy with works for me. That's great. But for me alone, if I'd have found, I don't know if I can actually say this, would I have been that way? Would I have found this 4 years ago and stuck with it, or would I have still wanted to go for the next best thing up? Even though I am now, I've got a couple of these, and I found what I need, and it does what I need it to do.
That's a good question. And if you'd have found the mod that you're most happy with now, if you'd have found that when you first started, would you have carried on buying the stuff that you carried on buying now?
Exactly. No doubt I would have done.
Oh yes.
I would have carried on buying left, right, and centre.
Oh yeah.
But I found it's simple. It does everything I need it to do, and it satisfies me, my style of vaping. It wouldn't satisfy you, for example, or anyone in chat. It's we're all different in that way, aren't we? But I find it interesting as to why we do what we do. It's sort of compulsive buying, isn't it?
Well, it's like me when I get paid, the first thing I think about is what kit can I buy? What mod is cheap at the moment?
Don't e-cigs in general appeal to a certain type of person, the gadgety person? They appeal to in a lot of ways. And the gadgety person, whether it's the latest phone or the latest iPod or the latest whatever, they like to have a new gadget, because it's just the way gadgety people are. And I mean, I'm kind of a gadgety person, but not as bad as some, and I'm quite relieved about that, because this habit can get very, very expensive. It's not that I'm averse to buying new mods, because I will, if there's something that I really like, but I have to say, will this fit into my current regime of what I'm using? So I always have to have, if I'm buying a new Arty, I have to know exactly what mod it's going to be on, and that's where it lives, and vice versa. If I'm buying a new mod, I need to know which. If I can't justify buying it, then I either have to accidentally break something or not buy it.
I think you hit the nail on the head when we were chatting about this the other night, Kirst, where you said, I've just upgraded my PC. I didn't need to, because the one I had beforehand was perfectly adequate for my usage. I did it for the sake of doing it, basically.
because something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, and you know that's also an expensive thing to do, isn't it? You know, but as you will know. But yeah, it's as I say, I don't knock anyone who does what they do. I find it interesting, and it is. I don't know how to explain it. It's
Well, it's like I've said before, there is definitely an element of the Emperor's New Clothes in it.
oh yes,
Without a
yeah,
doubt. And
yeah.
we're all guilty of going, I must have this. And you
Yes.
buy it and you go, well, it's actually not very good, but I've spent all this money on it, so I've got to at least tell everyone that it's quite good. And then when you actually get into a conversation and go, so are you using your new mod? Well, not really. It's alright, but would I buy it if I knew what I knew now? Probably not.
Yeah. Oh, I can say that with a lot of my stuff.
Same here.
Yeah, I can say that with a lot, but especially atomizers.
Yeah.
You know, especially atomizers. So yeah.
Atomizers more than mods, yeah, for sure.
I've got a couple of mods that don't perform how they should do. Mechanical ones where they've been given a good write-up, as it were, but would I buy them again? No.
Right, I think at that point we shall take the first set of adverts, Bob, and we can carry on with this when we come back, mate.
Fair enough.
All right.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Award-winning service and products from cloud9vaping.co.uk.
Dripper selection boxes now come in 0 and 3 mg strengths. So tell Dripper the kind of flavours you like and we'll send you 70ml of some of the world's most exciting flavours every month. With free delivery anywhere in Europe, treat yourself to a Dripper box today.
Dripper.co.uk.
And welcome back. Right, Bob, we were talking about shiny itis, basically. Sorry about ducking down there, something dropped on my foot. Shiny itis, and I think we'll move on now to, well, it sort of blends in a bit, really. The difference between the new stuff and the stuff that we used to use back in the day, sort of.
Yeah.
You know more about this more than me, Bob, because your vaping career goes back a bit further than mine.
Yeah, only by a little way, and we've got Savin chat in with us, and take even further with it, you know. But yeah, we were talking about our first devices, weren't we?
Yeah.
Well, that was mine, the Reaver kit. Don't know if you can see it, but that's basically what it was. It was a cartridge that you had stuff in that you put your juice in, and there's your atomizer in there.
So you drip the juice onto that?
Into the tip itself, yeah. It took around about 20 drops of juice, and you could manage 21 if you were lucky. And yeah, but it still works. I actually tried it out today, and it works. It's
Oh, 20 drops of juice, that's a big capacity one, that.
it was. It was, yeah. It's a like I say, this is what was about when I came into it 4 years ago. You know, when you started, Sav, it was a completely different, weren't it?
Yeah, plain old 901, which you were lucky if you got 5, 6 drops into it, and I would say 4 of them leaked out the other end. And the other remaining one leaked down the battery, so when I started, you took in 90% of your juice through your hands.
Yeah.
So
But
what
it
would be
worked!
the difference between what Bob's using and a 901 then?
A 901 is very much like what a disposable looks like, but a bit longer. It's long and thin, 2 parts, and then the tip on the top. I just imagine it's in my hands there, because I don't actually have one, because I wasn't prepared.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and it was a tiny, tiny little tip, about half the size of that, and you got 10 drops in if you were lucky, and it would drip out and it would leak. And 3 or 4 months after we started, the 510 came out, and that was like a revelation,
Mhm.
because that actually got the juice from the wadding onto the coil without going via your hands or the battery. And that was amazing. You could actually vape it. So yeah, that was interesting times then. And then you had the wonderful 801, which was
Uh-huh.
expensive. That was the posh one.
They were a good atomizer, though.
That was
What sort of prices are we talking for these devices?
my first kit, which came with 50 cartridges of juice, pre-filled cartridges, one atomizer, 2 batteries, was 100 quid.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whereas
And
mine, on the other hand, was 2 batteries, 2 cartridges, 2 atomizers, and a charger was 35 quid.
Uh-huh.
yeah, and I mean, the 801, which was called the pen style, and the only one that was really on the market was the Janty Kiss box, and it was like the Audrey Hepburn equivalent. It looked like a very elegant cigarette in a cigarette holder.
Yeah.
And oh, me and my mum really, really wanted one of them, but they were another 80 quid on top. And it was like, ooh, can't justify buying that until I've graduated, until I've earned it. And I remember it was about a year, no, probably about 2 years later, when you had sort of like egos and things on the market. I still treated myself, and so did Kat, to a Janty Kiss box. And oh, I bloomin' loved that thing. I loved the 801. It was back in the day. People didn't like the 801 because it was an airy vape, and I thought if they compared it to what we've got now, it's like wow. No, but they didn't like it. And I mean, low resistance atomizers were 1.5 ohm, and super low resistance were 1.25. But when I started, he didn't know what resistance anything was. So 3, 4 ohm was the norm. And we didn't know, didn't care. Just it was entertaining. It was fun, and
Just vape it.
yeah, it's just vape it. Give it with the 901. It was vape it and then charge it, and then really hope that it charged before you wanted to vape it again, which it never did. Never did. So we got the 510 PCC. We had a little charging case with the
Oh,
batteries in, and
in case, yeah.
oh, that was a revelation. That I love the PCC. But yeah, and then I moved on to the Janty stick, which was the first box mod, and that was the sort of the 801, because it started off with an 801, sort of slid down into the box mod. You screwed it in, and oh, that I loved that. They went wrong all the time. The juice used to leak into the internals, and they used to fry, and it took what was it? The 10 tiny little. It was like a AAA battery size battery that was in there, and
Yeah.
you'd get 4 hours out of it if you were lucky. And that was pushing it hard, but oh, it's fantastic. Loved it. Yeah, tiny little battery like that. Loved them. Oh, those were the days. But it was easier in a way when I started because you didn't have all this huge choice.
Yeah.
You had 401, 901. And the
No.
reason I went for a 901 over a 401 is the 401 looked like a cigarette and the 901 was pink.
Mm.
And I didn't want something that looked like a cigarette. So that was why we went 401 over 901 over 401. In theory, the 401 was probably the better e-cig because the atomizer was better. But and then you had when you had the dipping rather than dripping and all sorts of things. It was a strange world, very strange world. But I'm reminiscing now. I'll shut up.
Sounds like all sorts of fun, that does. So.
It was. It really was. I feel old now.
Okay, we'll not make you feel old anymore. I mean, the newer stuff. I mean, it's just exploded now, hasn't it?
Mm.
I mean, you talking about super low resistance was 1.2.
1.25, and we were all scared to use them because it's like, oh, this is going to make me mod blow up. That was
Now
like,
you get things like the Arctic tank, like this, and that's like 0.2.
yeah, 1.25, and you had to be brave to use it. And you'd fire it and it'd crackle and you'd go, oh, yeah.
I mean, sub tanks and Arctics have sort of revolutionised everything now.
I mean, it feels like it was sort of so long ago, but it feels like it was yesterday at the same time. I can remember it exactly. I remember going through the whole, because as I say, I didn't come to this with the intention of quitting smoking in the slightest. It was a pure novelty for me, hence I wanted something that was nothing like a cigarette, because it had no intentions in my mind of replacing a cigarette. It just happened accidentally. I preferred using the e-cig. I would search out the e-cig rather than cigarettes, and then I think it was a period of 5 days. We were pretty
So
much.
what was your intention to begin with? Then you were going to be like a dual
Well,
user.
no, I thought it would be a fad that I'd buy it and go, yeah, that's funny, and then put it in a drawer and never ever used it again. Like so many other bits of tech that you buy,
Yeah.
that you go, oh, it's great, like the Hoovers that go around by themselves. They're a novelty at first, but then you actually get the normal Hoover out because it doesn't actually work very well.
Yes.
And that was what because I was reading a car forum, and I came across a post by Prof Beard, and it linked to a review, and it was actually a Scott Bonner review of 901, and I clicked on it. And I was at Cat's house at the time, and I burst out laughing, going, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" And I went, "Mother, you seen this?" And she watched it, and we both turned around and went, "Gotta have one of them." That was it. 2 days later, they landed on the door, and that was it. Never expected that I'd be where I am now. Never saw that coming.
So how long did it take for you from receiving it to actually giving up smoking then?
5 days. That was unintentional. And the only reason it took 5 days is because you had to order a second kit or a second something, because the batteries lasted all of about an hour before you had to charge them again. So whilst we were waiting for it to charge, you had nothing to do but smoke. So you had to order, and it was a case of, oh, am I going to stick this? Because you think it's a lot of money to fork out. Is it worth it? Am I actually going to stick with this? Do I prefer it over smoking? And it was like, well, actually, yeah, I do. So we ordered more batteries, and that was the end of that. And now I'm here.
Mm.
So yeah,
Pretty quick then.
yeah, pretty quick. Yeah, my brother and my mum's husband, they both started pretty soon after we did, because after they spent the first sort of few weeks laughing at her, they thought, okay, let's have a try that, and it didn't work for either of them. They both went back to smoking. They since went back onto the e-cigs, my brother, just recently, and he can't believe the change, because he was always wary to go back because of his experience when he first started all those years ago that were rubbish.
Uh-huh.
And I set him up with an eye stick and just a Delta tank, so nothing particularly fancy, and he's loving it now. Absolutely loving it. So, strange. Horses for courses, though. Proves we're all different again.
Well, yeah, they are.
Yeah. Right, I'll shut up now because I'm taking over your show.
No, you're not.
I do apologise.
Not at all. Not taking over the show. You're
I can't help it, I'm
providing
gobby.
valid information.
I'm gobby, I can't help it.
No, not a word I'd use. Talkative,
Talkative, that's the polite way for gobby here.
if you say so.
It is. But I mean, it's weird. I'm off again. But it's a cat, for example. I mean, as I say, she started the same time as me. Yeah, she's been in and out of hospital a fair bit recently, and
Uh-huh.
I was just having this conversation with her the other day. When she goes into hospital, she doesn't bring her e-cig with her, and she doesn't miss it either. She doesn't crave anything. She doesn't want it. She doesn't miss it, and she's quite happy to pick it up again when she comes in. But and this can be sort of 3-4 days on the trot, and she's not sort of craving anything. Whereas, could you imagine what you were like, even a couple of hours, not knowing where your cigarette packet was and stuff? I couldn't leave the house unless I had my cigarettes with me. Whereas I'm quite happy nipping off to the shops and here, there, and all over. And you go, oh, I've left my e-cig in the house. And you go, yeah, I'll get it when I get back. Whereas if I've left my cigarettes in the house, I'd be turning the car around and going back and getting them.
Exactly.
Or if I'm far enough away, you stop at the local shop and you pick up another packet. Whereas it just doesn't happen these days.
It was like me the other day. I mean, you know yourself, when I was down the hospital with Helen. I mean, we were in there for a good 5-6 hours, and I didn't go out at all to have a vape or anything. And I didn't miss it. I didn't crave anything while I was in there.
No, it's a different habit, if that's the right word. I was to say it's more of a enjoyment, a hobby,
Yeah.
a thing that I enjoy doing. I enjoy drinking Coke as well, and I can take that or leave it as well, and it works the same way for me now.
If I'd have still been a smoker, I would have been climbing the walls in that hospital.
Yeah, totally agree.
Bob, it's over to you now. You can unmute your mic, mate.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Mate, welcome back.
He thinks he can get away with just sitting there looking angelic.
Oh, Bob, you can have a go now, mate.
Right. What was the question?
Mr. Co-host.
What was the question again? I've forgotten.
It's your part of the show now, mate.
It's my age, mate. I keep on, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned.
Yeah,
It's your
about
part
how
of the show
devices.
now. We can move on from that now, mate.
All right. What you saying about how devices were going different to, you know, how they were? Yeah. Who?
Shush.
Yes.
Catch up. We're moving on from that now, Bob.
Right.
We're doing the dragons. No, not dragon.
Dragons?
Dragons? Who's bringing dragons into it? I think, I think Bob needs a refreshment break.
Yeah, we'll go for the second set of adverts, I think, and give Bob a chance to refresh his memory.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vape-trails.tv.
LP Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and e-liquids. Proud sponsors of vaping entertainment on Vapor Trails TV.
And welcome back again. I hope you're enjoying our first show so far. Right, now we're going to hand over to Bob for a little segment on older technology. We're naming this segment not the dragon, like I said before. I don't know where I got dragons from. Looking at Bob, I think. Sorry, Bob. We're going to name this segment the Dinosaurs Distraction. This is where Bob gets his kit off. No, he doesn't get his kit off. This is where Bob gets his kit out and has a look at some older vaping technology. So it's over to you, Bob. You have the floor, mate.
Thank you very much, Keith. Right, yeah. Just saying how things have moved on in the last 4 years. I was going through my box of bits the other day and I came across this little beauty. I've actually forgot I had them. This is a Bianchi Eye Mist. Similar kind of thing to an ego tank system in a way. You put a mill of juice in the lid, popped it all together, stuck it on your device, and away you go. But with this one, there was a little catch with it. There's your coil, but you had the wick in there. So that all came together. Once you started to burn out, then you'd have to buy some of them. I don't know if you can see that anything, but they're little wicks. And when they first come out, I think they were going around about £7 or £8 a piece, something in that region. I bought one, gave it a try, I thought, wow, this is good. And you could take it up to, back then, 4.4 volts, and it was a really nice vape. And then you'd start getting a little bit of a burny, so you'd have to knock it back again. But the coils generally came out around about 1.9, and they seem to carry on forever. Whatever you threw into it, it would just still work and work and work, and they were great. And I decided to fill this one up today and give it a try. So I put it on, and this is new kit for me. This is really tech stuff for me. I've got it on a 30 watt e-leaf eye stick thingy, one of them. And it's a great little vape. I was actually surprised it was still working. I wish I should have a bit more wattage in that. It works absolutely fine. One thing I did notice with it though, how different a flavour is using my everyday juice. I make up like a caramel Y4 style thing. The flavour is so different using that compared to my everyday Squonker or one of my rebuildables, for example. But when they came out, these were really great. You could actually replace the parts to them instead of having to, once they started tasting a bit naff, throw it away and buy a new one. And for £7 or £8 when they first came out, they were really brilliant. I know someone else who used to love these things as well, and that's Sav.
Oh, I love them. Absolutely love them. And for me, it was technically my first dripper because I used to take the tank off. I had a white ball drip tip, and I just used to drip onto it, and oh, it was fantastic. I absolutely loved the eye mists, and you used to have to change that little wick with a pair of tweezers, and oh, it was so fiddly, but love it. Still love it.
I put in a new wick on this today, and I kind of forgot that once you got it in with the tweezers, if you sort of just pulled a little bit, you'd pull half of your wick away with it.
Yeah. Yes, you'd end up with very little.
You would.
Like, you go through half a packet of the wicks just trying to get it right. But when you did, it was so good. And there was hardly anybody sold them. And I think at the time you had to get them from Daz at Safer Six because we nagged them and nagged them and nagged them. And he got them in, and oh, they were, compared to the Ego tanks, it was just I mean, looking at them now, you probably wouldn't pick a difference, but then, oh, they were fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
It's like light and day, really, weren't it?
It was, and it was one of the first tanks that you could really taste the difference on juice. I mean, compared to today's tanks, obviously, they don't stand up too well, but at a push, I think I could still get away with using an eye mist.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, once this show's done, I will be draining this and it will be going back in the box. In the day, it was a brilliant atomizer. Without a doubt, tank system. And, you know, it'd last you a good 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever, while you were out and about, and you'd not have a problem with it. But flavour doesn't even come close to what there is available today. You know, but again, back in the day, it was well worth having.
It was.
Well worth having.
It was indeed.
I enjoyed them that much, I ended up buying 3, I think.
Yeah, I had 3 of them.
Yeah, killed one completely. I know that. I can't remember, but weren't they going to bring out replaceable coils for them?
They did, I think. They did, and then Beyonce just disappeared. It was one of those producers that I don't know if they still are involved in the e-cig market or not, but they just vanished, sort of pretty much overnight. It was just all gone, and we moved on to something else again.
I'm just going to butt in here. No one can see me because I've not got a camera on me, but not a lot of people realise that the first, you know, the Typhoon tank.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone thinks of that as a 23mm thing, yeah.
Yeah.
The first version of that was actually a rebuildable one of them.
Was it?
I have one. Yes.
Oh wow.
There we go. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, you learn something every day.
Yeah, so you know, it's how long ago were these out, Cuz?
Oh, about 3 years.
2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
And how it's all changed now.
Yeah,
I think today was sport for choice.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And I mean, so many people that be in chat, and I mean, Keith as well wouldn't have had all this, seen all this type of stuff. And in a way, it's like you're lucky.
Anything like that.
You're lucky. I mean, would you say you came into vaping at the golden age type thing?
Yeah, I came into vaping when they were just getting rid of the 901s, and they were the 510s were coming more mainline. You know, like they were more the norm, as it were. And so I was lucky. I didn't have to suffer like yourself with the earlier kit that was available back then. And yeah, I suppose it was the golden age, unless we haven't even reached that yet.
I don't know. We forget, don't you? Because you've been in it, you're sort of in it and living it. You forget how new this industry is and how new this technology is. It makes you think, where's it going to be if it doesn't get quashed by the likes of the TPD? Where it's going to be in 10 years' time?
Well, where it's going to be like in a year's time. The way tech is moving forward nowadays. And what I like is the innovations in different style atomizers, whether it be the guy in the shed doing them or the big companies doing them. You know, they're finding new ways to give us pleasure.
So here's a question for you. It's something that Dave the Rayan's just said that's inspired this question for me, and this is for you as well. Worst bit of kit that you've used then?
Worst bit of kit? I would say, I don't know if you remember them, they were the CE4 Plus. I know your mum had some, and I know they were Keith's favourite at one time. And I think I sent a pack to Dave Dawn that I had either bought, or someone else sent a pack to Dave Kitson for one of the Vape Fest. And I had a full brand new pack of them. They were similar to that kind of thing, but you had to take the lid off. There was a bung inside. You had to remove that. You had to fill the tank, but you had to put something underneath the bottom of the tank, because otherwise it would just fall out, all your liquid,
Mhm.
and then you had to put the bung in, and then you had to put your tip back on as fast as you can.
Ah, yeah.
Do you remember them? I know your mum liked them for a
Yeah,
while,
she got on
and
with
then
them.
she got the hump with them like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me that was the worst bit of kit.
Oh, I think
Atomizer-wise.
for me, atomizer-wise, it's a toss-up between a C2, which
You
was
never
just
used.
terrible. Just terrible. Even though Mark loved them, you
Oh,
know,
he
no,
did,
it was
didn't he?
terrible. Or, and this is what inspired the question, was the VV Nova.
I tried one of them as well.
Oh, maybe Novas, yeah.
Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah,
So bad.
I remember that most of the vendors were saying they were the best thing since sliced bread, but they were. The flavour of them was.
I was like vaping fresh air.
It was. Oh yeah, they were horrible. What got me with them was the positive pin used to hang down so far you couldn't get them to sit level on anything, whether it be a mech mod or a lava tube style mod or anything like that. You just had that big gap all the way through, and you had to either sand it down or file it down somehow.
Yeah, B in chat just said she loves hers.
What's that, the Vivi?
The Vivi, yeah. Just
Yeah,
shows.
but would she have loved the original Vivis?
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried one since the original. I did hack
Neither
one to
have I.
bits once.
The
trying to
original
make
Vivis
something
with the wires soldered in.
Yeah.
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 CB says they're better than cartomizers, yet I preferred cartomizers.
No, I never got on with cartomizers myself.
Oh, you could get some corkers.
Yeah,
Get
you
some
could.
really good. Oh, the 801 Fusion cartomizer was fantastic.
They were good.
Apologies, folks. The live stream seems to have gone. I'm still here, but I don't know what's happened. Oh dear. Yeah, apologies. I think the Mac it's running on has just gone a bit mad. One moment. I'll see if I can rescue the situation. I'll see what I can do. Yeah, this is this is not something that we planned on doing, but we just lost a hangout. I'm seeing if I can sort this out. Hang on. Dear. My complete apologies. Right, looks like we're back in. Hang on.
So
right,
yeah,
apologies, guys. My Mac
seemed.
seemed.
Must have been.
Hello. Right, apologies.
But,
my Mac seemed to.
Yeah.
Matt, yeah, muted.
Right, sorry. Apologies. My Mac seemed to just completely lose the hangout for the last minute and a half.
No.
So,
I'm talking to myself.
right, we are now back in.
I'm glad I didn't swear.
Ah, wasted the best bit of the show.
I'm very, very sorry. I don't know what happened there.
These things
Quite
are full
alright.
tip.
Yeah.
Quite alright.
Yeah, where were we?
I don't know, but you've got 7 minutes and I'm going to leave you to fill it all on your own now because I've talked enough.
Yes, carry on, Bob.
Me?
Yeah, what else? It's your segment now.
Yeah, well, I was just talking about the ACI mist and how tech has changed in what is relatively a short amount of time.
Yeah, but this is your segment called the Dinosaurs Distraction. This is supposed to be about older stuff. What other bits of your old stuff did you get out?
Only the Reaver and the iMist.
Oh, right.
Because
So
I
do you
made them out.
Do you think you'll stay being a dinosaur?
Absolutely.
You're happy being a dinosaur?
I am. Although I was talking to Matt earlier, and he was explaining about the DNA 200 and that 2200 milliamp hour battery is going to last in days. And the difference between those batteries and what I'm using, whereas I can get through two 18650s or even three 18650s in a day. That's easy done. Whereas he's going to last in days. And it's had the technology now is completely, changed. So I may down the line be tempted to go that route myself. I just don't know yet. As I say, that I'm happy with what I'm using at this moment, and I can't foresee myself getting anything in the near future. But what will happen in a year's time? I may be getting that kind of stuff.
So it may potentially evolve then, Bob.
I may.
But technically, if it takes that long to do it, you'll still be a dinosaur because everyone else would have moved on by then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then again, by then there will be something completely new, with any luck, out on the market, and I may just go straight into that.
Yeah.
I can't say whether I'm going to do it then and there. I just don't know. As I say, at the moment, I am happy with what I'm using because it fulfills my needs, and it satisfies what I want out of a vape. As I said before, I've tried lung inhaling and I can do it. I just don't get the same enjoyment for some reason as I suppose it's getting that draw. As opposed, from a normal atomizer, as opposed to a lung inhale. It's when I smoke cigarettes, I always had that draw, and that's how I am with my atomizers now. I don't think any of them have got an air hole bigger than 1 mil or 1.2 mil, and that suits me, and I've no doubt it suits a few other people as well. So. But I just like that. I like seeing what's going on and why people, and I like to know why people are using it and how they are enjoying it and what enjoyment it gives them. And as Matt said, he's knocked his nick level right down there. Whereas I'm still on I'm on 10 milligram nick now. But
see, I've got two devices sitting here. One, my normal daytime one, and there's the sub one for the evening. So I'm on 18 milligram on the daytime and 6 on the evening.
Well, I've got one here that's got 45 milligram in, and that is my sometimes kickstart of the morning when I've sort of woken up and not woken up, and I need to kick up the gooch. Anyway, so that it doesn't get used that often, but when it does, it helps. And I'm generally on. Pardon?
I should imagine it does at 45.
You never used 45 milligram, Keith?
No, the highest I ever vaped was 36.
45 is interesting.
It is.
I should imagine it is.
Serves the purpose, it definitely does.
We'll have to get some of that 45 milligram Diablo Loco. And let him try that out.
Matt's evil grin there.
I think nearly everyone in the team's tried it apart from you, Pete.
And they all tried it live.
Yes, and Nathan inhaled it live. Yes, and cried while they were doing it.
Yeah.
Although there were two, if I remember rightly, that actually watered it down.
Just a little bit,
yeah. Just a little bit, because it's too
still entertaining them.
It was so funny to watch, though. Yeah, so that's me. I will stick with what I've got for the time being.
So I think, again, as it sort of comes with so many of these shows, when you're chatting through stuff like this, the main point that always comes out of it all is nobody's the same. What works for you works for you. And there isn't a right or wrong way, and that gets, again, back to that, why these people behind the likes of the TPD and all this stuff, their form of regulation just can't work because of that.
Yeah.
I think it would be a very boring community if we all were on exactly the same thing,
Oh yeah.
which is basically what the TPD want us to be on.
Well, they like to tell you what to do, say, think, and buy Ribena. Sorry, I
Well,
didn't.
yeah.
I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I agree with you.
We didn't
But
actually hear
That
it.
was not a subliminal message at all.
no,
No.
no, it's you know, it's great to see in the 4 years that I've been a member of the community, as it were, the different amounts of kit that people use and the reasons why they use it.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's good to see. It really is.
And we have reached that time, Bob.
Phew.
As Bob breathes a massive sigh of relief. Yes, it is time. We do have to wrap up the show now.
We do. I've enjoyed it.
Yes, me too. And hopefully chat have enjoyed it.
Well,
Before you go, I'm going to steal Matt's idea from yesterday. If you have enjoyed it, please do give us a like. Thank you.
I was just going to say that myself, so actually.
Well, I saved you a job.
Especially if you found a technical faux pas entertaining.
That was all deliberate, just to make
It
sure
was
everyone
just to
was
keep
okay
your
with
interest in the show.
Yeah.
Tenderhook suspense, that's what it was.
It was deliberate just to give me a heart attack.
And that I really wanted to be on the screen.
That I believe. Right, we better wrap this up then. I think we better we've got to do what shows are coming up and all that stuff. So, no show tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday. There is Saturday shenanigans, of course. No show Sunday or Monday. There will be Vapor Scene with Marco on Tuesday. There is some bloke on Wednesday, I can't remember his name, doing some show.
It's the Master of Puppets is on.
Oh yeah, the Master of
It's some idiot who lives in Wales with a beard.
Yeah.
And to be honest, enough of him.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, it's Matt Gerish with the Cave on Wednesday.
And don't forget Ridian.
And Ridian, yes. Whose coat is this jacket chap?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then he's back to us on Thursday. And that is your week of vaping entertainment. So it only remains for us to say good night. So if everybody would like to say their goodbyes. Bob, would you like to say goodbye?
Alright, yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And I hope we haven't bored you too much. But yeah, thank you and good night.
Seth?
Goodbye.
Is that it?
What do you want? I mean, I moved. I said goodbye. What more do you want?
Worked for me.
God, some people are never happy.
And our Master of Puppets production engineer, DNA 200 Master, Matt?
Yeah?
You want to say goodbye?
No, not really. Oh, but I'll say it anyway. Ta-da.
Yeah, thanks for watching everybody, and we will catch you next week. Bye-bye.